Hello, everyone. So before we get started, I do have to acknowledge my market president. We work together very closely in the market to help raise expectations in the markets that we serve. So Dave Kunick is on the line. Dave, did you want to say anything to the Queens before I get started?
No, I just want to thank you. What a great evening this is going to be. And I'm going to turn it right back to you because I know you have a lot to do and a lot to go over, and it's 5:08. So thank you, Mo, and have a great evening, Queens. Appreciate it.
All righty. So thank you, David. So I'm not going to hold us up. I want to get started because it's exactly what this session is about. It's called Let's Talk About It, which with Coach Mo. So what does Let's Talk About It really mean? Okay. In my opinion, this is the time to embark on your personal journey of self-care to ensure you're not keeping your thoughts imprisoned in our own built walls. How many of you all kind of do that? Like we put our thoughts, our fears, our disappointments, those bad test scores, we kind of try to bury them all deep down inside when we don't achieve or meet the highest marks that we're trying to meet. We also might have some problems at this time because we're in a special age bracket right now. A lot of you all are trying to develop what trust looks like with people, right? How many of you all shared a secret with your best friend who happened to go and tell somebody else and you're like, hey, that was supposed to be between us when you and I talk about things? Or how many of you have probably even finally told that girl or boy that they were cute and they went and told the world? Like, how do you get into a culture of just being able to freely talk about things when you have so much to worry about and you don't really know how to confide in people yet? A lot of us keep a lot of things built deep down inside. And today's workshop is to just help encourage you. I can't fix things, but I can provide you with awareness, some resources, some tips and tools that I feel have helped me on my personal journey towards being the queen that I feel I am, because no one had to put a crown on me anymore. I put my own crown on. So I want to help give you all the same empowerment and encouragement to do so. So today is all about understanding, how to listen to your own voice and empower yourself during difficult times. Because the one thing I do know that's going to come are going to be difficult times. And a lot of people only like to really talk about the positive things that are going on in life, because guess what? Mentally and consciously, that's easier, right? It's easier to talk about the things that are happy, but it's so hard to really bring out those things that might be troubling us. And as we all have been talking about mental health, what better time than for us to acknowledge the fact that talking about things are the key to embarking on a power of not only self-love, but self-communication and the ability to just ignite your full superpower. So who am I? I'm Coach Mo, the External Affairs Market Manager for Comerica Bank, as they said, but I'm also a mother. I'm a friend. I'm a sister. I'm an aunt. I'm so many things. And guys, this is what happens in the world of just being a girl. We become so many titles and so many roles that at some point in time, we end up losing who we are because we forget to talk to ourselves. How many of you all are quicker to go and tell someone else something important instead of sitting down and self-reflecting with yourself? Just ask yourself that question. Why is it that soon as something amazing happens, we don't take the time to sit and divulge and say, hey, I need to celebrate a moment with myself before I celebrate with others? And that's because we all come from a world that likes to get accolades. We like for people to, hey, that's a great job. But we've got to learn to become our best cheerleader, because at the end of the day, when things are not going the way we want them to, who has to be there to cheer for yourself? You have to be there to be your biggest cheerleader. And that's one of the first steps to helping you embark on your Let's Talk About It journey. So if you don't mind, I'm going to give you a little bit of information about myself, okay? Because as you can see, the girl on the screen is who I used to try to look like as I was growing up. I was energetic. I was always smiling, top of the class, overachiever, had to get the group grades. I wasn't that good on conduct. I always got to talk too much on my conduct. But can y'all understand why I was born to talk? And teachers, unfortunately, didn't recognize that superpower in Coach Mo. They just would tell my mom that I talked too much. But little did they know, deep down inside, Coach Mo was having some personal, issues that no one else could see, because I had learned to put on this character of just being an overachiever. And I know I've got a lot of young queens on here that are very smart, very educated, top of the class in their clubs. But this is the time for me to tell you, it's okay to feel like how she feels in this video sometimes. We don't have to always pretend to be the best, because this is where we start to once again bury and create those prison walls within ourselves. And eventually those things turn out to be emotional triggers. Now, what's funny is I can tell you, I remember the first time someone ever really coming to my rescue, and it was when I was roller skating back when I was probably 7, 8 years old. I love to roller skate, and I didn't see the big pile of sand that was right in front of me. And that's considered like a roadblock. We're all going to have roadblocks one of these days. But as I was just getting on down the sidewalk with my skates, I, of course, did what? Fell. And guess who came running to my rescue? My mom and my grandma. And, they came, are you okay? Are you okay? Let me fix this. Everyone cared about what was going on with me. But do y'all see one thing? Why did they care? They saw a visible scar. They saw a visible scar on Coach Mo, and they wanted to help. But what happens to the scars that we don't let anyone see? Who comes to our rescues when you can't see the mental things that are going on inside our heads, when we refuse to talk about some of the things that we're all going on and have going on in our lives? I mean, you all are young and you're living in a world that is so much more different than what I grew up in, and a lot of the adults maybe on this workshop grew up in. So I know if there is no other time, it's time now for you all to ignite the superpower of being able to talk about your feelings, okay? Because like I said, no one came to ask me whether I was okay, even though I spent plenty of nights praying and wondering why I felt so rejected on the inside. Like, how come I was the one getting all straight A's, freshman class president, sophomore vice president, always winning poetry contests, being on the stage, talking to people, but no one really knew what was going on deep on the inside. And I had learned to create this actor, this actress that could tell anybody that everything was okay. It wasn't until I finally started talking to other people, and I started realizing I wasn't on my own, that I felt rejected as a little girl because I had 2 men in my life that didn't want me. My biological father never came to see me. Don't know what he looks like to this day. And unfortunately, he's passed. My stepfather at the time, who raised me, never adopted me. So I didn't have the family last name. I was the only one who felt like I was all by myself. And it really just felt like everyone in the world was just laughing at me behind my back. Like, no matter how much I accomplished, no matter how much my mom and my grandma said that they loved me, in the back of my mind, I still felt that my dad did not love me, did not want me, and I couldn't understand why. So there was no talks about mental health. And maybe your story may not be like Coach Mo's. It may not be the form of rejection. It could be the form of just not feeling loved in your home. It could be the form of maybe your parents arguing a lot, or it could be the form of maybe your teachers not understanding, why you may act out, or what could be happening going on behind the scenes. And that's because no one really knows what you're thinking on the inside unless you learn to become empowered and talk about it. So as we think about mental health and talking about it is no black and white issue. It is totally as colorful as we want it to be. So as we think about how do we begin to talk talk about it. A lot of you all are still on a journey where you're working with your teachers. The first thing I want you to do is find a teacher that you really can believe in, because guess what? Teachers are very underpaid, but they still come to work every day. They still show up. They still show you that they're there. They're dedicated. They buy supplies when there's no one there giving them the funds to do so. And that's got to come from some form of love and compassion for you. So I tell all of my young queens and kings, take the time to go and speak with one teacher. Just one, and tell them a little bit about yourself so that you can build what we call a cheerleader. There's a difference between having cheerleaders, mentors, guides and things of that sort, or even coaches. But your teachers should not only know you by your first and last name and your grades, but how else can they get to know you if you don't demand that audience? So it's time for you to start inviting yourself to the table, whether or not they decorated with food or not. Because see, a lot of kids come to workshops because we feed you. But I need you all to start coming to workshops because you understand the benefit and the return on the investment that these workshops can give to you to be the best version of yourself. So as we think about talking about things, there's no colorful approach. I'm going to give you some tips in a few minutes that help you understand. But I'm not going to make you all look at me like this. I'm not going to ask you all to share your personal stories. I bet y'all all saying, I hope Coach Mo does not ask us to go on camera and start sharing our stories. Now, if you want to share your stories, I think that's going to be great towards the end, because this is a time to do what? Let's talk about it. And we're upon some loving people on this workshop who are here that can help motivate and empower you during the things that you may need to get off of your chest, because we all need to be empowered when it comes to the ability of self-love and self-communication. So the first tip that I want to tell you is towards building that self-love and self-communication. But I have to warn you, these tips will not work and they will not serve you unless you're ready to put in the work yourself. I mean, we can tell you all day long that you should do this, you should do that. In order to rise like a queen, you need to start doing this. You can watch as many YouTube videos on how to be the baddest, or how to have what is it called? What is the summer thing? I can't, one of y'all queens help me, because Megan, what is it called?
Hot Girl Summer.
There you go, Queen. Hot Girl Summer. So, I can tell you all of those tips, but it's going to take you to put some work in to be able to understand who you are as a queen. And that comes through that journey of self-love. We got to stop putting so much investment in other people before we invest in ourselves. Ask yourself, who is your mentor? Who is your idol? Who is that you want to be like? Because oftentimes when you ask someone that question, it's a little difficult to really answer. Someone asked me one time, Mo, who is your mentor? And I got such high standards. I don't even know if I really put anybody in that spot yet, because I just want it all. And I don't know anybody that actually embraces all of those characteristics except for God, myself, who I love, So you all have to figure out, who is the person that you do want to be like, and how do you surpass them? You never become consistent with a person that you want to admire or that you see, I can do that too, right? So we're going to talk about these tips, and then towards the end, we're going to have a quick little game, and then I'm going to open it up for Q&A, because you'll have time to either hear from some other community leaders that I've invited. I hope some of them are on that may want to also give you queens some encouragement as it relates to just having a talk about it culture. And I like to call those collaborative conversations, because it's hard to have a collaborative conversation, but the earlier that you all start to embrace the ability to communicate, especially for yourself, you will see much better journey for yourself. I'm telling you, I can promise it will go much easier. So the first tip that we're going to talk about is going to be taking actual, oh, I'm sorry, it's not playing, is it? I apologize. We're going to have to get out of here. Okay. So the first tip, let's put this in here, is take inventory. Can you all see that? Y'all see it? Okay. So take inventory. So what does that mean? What are you inviting into your mind, body, and your spirit? What type of inventory have you taken as it relates to your overall life? Is your social media feeding you positivity, or is it feeding you desires that make you have a comparison issue when it comes to looking at all the girls who twerk all day? Because guess what? Coach Mo watches the girls who twerk all day, but Coach Mo can't get on TikTok and twerk all day because that's not where I am in my life. So why do I want to continue to invite those types of things on my social media feed, and they're not feeding me? So take inventory. Are people around you toxic? What type of people? What do people come bring to you? Is someone bringing you the latest gossip? Are they bringing you the latest way to empower yourself? You've got to think about what the inventory is as it relates to your life. The stores take inventory, right? Think about it. Your favorite store, you see workers up and down the stores, they're checking their merchandise because they're checking merchandise to make sure it's what? Not expired, right? So everybody has a time and a place as it relates to, your life, but you have to be the one to take inventory, because people will stay in your life for longer than the seasons that they're supposed to. Things will stay in your life longer than the seasons that they're supposed to. But ultimately, who has control of their inventory? Who has control? You do. So once you take inventory of the areas that are not serving you, the areas that are not empowering you, the areas that don't feel right, you need to purge. Okay. We need to do a purge and cleanse them out of your universe, because things that don't serve you can only take up unnecessary space. And when you're growing, you need all the room. People say we got glass ceilings. Yes, they may be glass ceilings, but when you're empowered, you know how to go through the glass ceiling to keep rising. But if you let inventory just start piling up and people are expiring and don't serve purposes in your life, those people will hold you down. So take inventory is step number 1. Okay. Step number 2, take your time. That's one thing I wish if I could tell younger Coach Mo is take your time, queen. People say we don't have enough time in the world, and they're right about that. But what you do have enough time is to think about things before you act on them. Take your time. If someone approaches you with something that just doesn't feel right, you have to remember not to let temporary emotions cause permanent outcomes. And that often happens because we're so ready to respond. We're so ready to give our 2 cents. We're so ready to say what we need to say off of our chest because we have let our emotions take control. And then after that, step happens, how many of you all go home and you think about it? And you're like, man, I probably shouldn't have said that. Or man, I wish I could have done this. Or I wish, but guess what? You can. So what I want to encourage each one of you queens to take the opportunity to start saying, you know what? It's interesting that you brought that information to me. Let me take some time to think on this conversation. And if you don't mind, I'll get back with you. Because guess what? Queens are not rushed into giving a decision. Queens are not rushed into giving a reply. But we have to empower ourselves to let people know that I need time to think about this, and then you act. That's number 2. Okay. Number 3. One of my favorite ones, queens. Step number 3 is to define boundaries. I hope y'all writing these down, because let me tell you, I wish that someone would have just, hey, these are what you're going to need as you grow in your teenage years, Mo. You're going to need this information. We all say there's no rule book. Well, I think I'm giving you some valid tips on how to survive as you're going through your teenage years as a young queen. Define boundaries and let them be known. A lot of us don't even know what our boundaries are. And we end up finding our boundaries when we get triggered. How many of you all get triggered? A lot of us get triggered, and you wondering, well, why did that set me off like that? What in the world caused me to get so upset? It's because you have not sat down and taken the time to define your own boundaries, borders, and limits. And let me tell you, if even states have boundaries, okay, cities have boundaries, zip codes have boundaries, the government has boundaries, how come we as individuals haven't defined our own boundaries? And once you do define boundaries, and what I mean by that is I receive constructive criticism from people who have built a relationship with Coach Mo. If I you got to come at me a different way if you want to give me some type of constructive criticism. And the only way people are going to know that is I'm able to clearly communicate that to any of my managers, my leaders, etc. Build a relationship with me, get to know me, and then we can have a wonderful relationship because I'm a lifetime learner to any type of constructive criticism or constructive feedback that you need to give to me. But it's a boundary that I had to understand. Why were people triggering me? Well, they're triggering me because I never let things be known. So sit down, write it down. What has triggered you in the last couple of years? Have you let people know how those things made you feel, or did you just place those in that prison wall on the inside and try to bury it? That's what a lot of us often do. But guess what? That person may not ever do it again, but someone else will. And who once again has control of that situation? You do, queens. So define your boundaries and let them be known. Another word here for defining boundaries, create a code word with your family, your friends, etc. That code word needs to be whatever it is. And when you communicate that to people, you let them know, if I say the code word, you're triggering me. You're triggering me. So here's the code word to where we need to just kumbaya and come back to this at another time. So create those code words because a lot of you all will end up losing friendships over something so minute or minuscule because you haven't defined boundaries and you have not let them be known and you did not create that safe code word to keep your energy and your relationships healthy. So tip number 3, define boundaries. Tip number 4, have futuristic thoughts. Please get rid of that YOLO mentality because no queens, I don't know one queen that felt she only lived once. Queens want to live for lifetimes. Queens want to be embarked in history. Queens want to be talked about from years to come. So if any of these queens on here are living a you only live once life mentality, you're not ready to be a queen. And that's okay because everybody's not going to be ready to be a queen. But when you're ready, you'll understand that you have to have futuristic thoughts and then work towards those goals. Everything you do matters to your tomorrow, the tomorrow you. Everything you say matters to the tomorrow you. Yes, we don't know what the future holds. We don't, but we know the steps that we can do to try to get towards the future we want and desire. So step number 4, always think about what the future you looks like and keep futuristic thoughts and make sure you work towards them. Step number 5, find your outlet and plug your own self in. Okay. You cannot wait for anyone to invite you to anything. Okay. A lot of you all have gone to school and you may just stay to yourself, or you may not talk to other people, or you may only be clicked up with people who followed you from middle school and now into high school. You have to find your outlet. If you are a debater, you better go plug yourself into the debate team. If you are a leader, you better go plug yourself into some type of leadership club at your school. And if they don't have a club that suits you, what am I going to challenge you all to do? Create one. I see who get you. See, I see your queen saying, yep, create one, right? We can't wait for nobody to plug us in. If the light always had to wait for someone to plug him in, would it ever turn on? Just think about that. So you are a vessel of energy that has to be plugged in, but you're a human. So you can't allow your tools, your superpowers to only be plugged in when somebody decides to plug you in. You plug yourself in, you insert yourself in, because that's what queens do, okay? Find your outlets. I like to tell people, if you've got to divert from what everyone else is doing, that's because you found your outlet. And that's exactly what it means. If you like to go to Barnes and Nobles, but everybody else wants to go to Galaxy, the skating rink or whatever, hey, Let them go, and you go to your happy place, find your outlet, and plug yourself in. That's when you learn to become comfortable with you, because it's hard to say no to the group of friends, but it's going to be so valuable when you realize that time that you're investing in yourself is going to pay off, because at the end of the day, all you have is you. So step number 5, find your outlet and plug yourself in. So we're going to move on to step number 6. I got to tell y'all, take control of your wants versus needs. Like, y'all know I work for the bank. I could not come on here and not have a let's talk about it when we, have to tell you this is one of the most easiest said words or actions, but the hardest to actually do. It's hard to tell your mind that you don't want everything. It's hard to say no to a lot of the wants in life. But guess what? Not even just speaking of the monetary things, we have to learn that the wants cannot outpower our needs, because if that happens, then you have to think about it. Eventually, something major is going to suffer, because the needs are much more powerful than the wants that we do desire in our life. So I like to even use this quick analogy. We want to have perfect hygiene, but guess what? You want to go to sleep because you're just tired. And you need to wash that pile of clothes that's on the floor in your room, right? Which one? We need to say, I know I want to sleep, or do I need to wash those clothes so that I can keep up with my hygiene and things of that sort? So I know that's not a money analogy, but it's just showing you that you have to sometimes put those wants to the back burner and step up and do the needs, so that you can once again be the best version of yourself as it relates to every aspect of your life, especially though when it comes to your financial health, when it relates to money. So number 6, take control of your needs versus your wants. Tip number 7, only bury treasure. And I know y'all probably like, well, what does she mean by that? Well, only bury treasure, not pain. Think about pirates. What are pirates always searching for? Buried what? Treasure. They ain't searching for buried pain, right? But we often bury every piece of our pain because we don't want to bring it to the surface, right? But I'm telling you all to bury your treasures and let them be discovered as they come to fruition by other people. Y'all know y'all heard the saying, don't tell everybody what you're doing yet. Just work on it and it will show for itself. So this tip is to help encourage you to not bury that hurt, not bury that pain, but find something in that pain that you can bring to purpose and passion, and that will in return become your hidden treasure. Okay. Tip number 7, only bury treasure. Do not bury pain. Tip number 8. Oh my goodness. If this one isn't, I'm telling you, I know I'm gonna get some 8. Can I get some amens in the chat? I just need some snapping fingers in the chat, because this one is use the power of discernment. Like, my goodness, y'all know that little person that's always telling you, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you, this doesn't feel right. Oh, I don't know if she's really my friend. Somebody's talking to you. Somebody's talking to you. It's that power of discernment. And each and every one of us have that power. But for some reason, we all find ourselves saying, agree with me here, I wish somebody would have told me. How many of us say that? I wish somebody, why didn't somebody warn me? Why didn't somebody tell me? But guess what? If you really take time to spend relationships and build your self-reflections of love within yourself, you will start to listen to that inner voice a little bit more. But it's more than just listening. You have to listen and then follow through. So if something doesn't feel right, 9 times out of 10, it's not right. Your body and mind has enough power within itself to know when something may not feel right for you particularly, okay? If something looks like the water too deep, something already telling you to test it with your toe, right? You already saying, I better make sure I can actually swim that deep. So no one had to come and tell you that the water is too deep. Something already unconsciously is telling you to be careful. So I'm encouraging all of you queens to please listen to that voice. Use that power of discernment as it relates to you growing, because I trust and believe that once you spend time with yourself will become much more empowered to protecting the queen that you are. So let's move on. We're almost done because I only got 10. So tip number 9, okay? Be a leader. Be a leader at all times. We got too much of a follow culture going on, too much of a following culture. I need more leaders. And see, queens can't be followers because we're actually, embark with a heavier crown than anybody else. And it's not easy because sometimes as a queen, you find yourself marching all by yourself, but that's okay. Because once you strengthen, you worked out that self-love, that ability to love yourself, you'll be fine with being a leader when nobody else wants to follow behind. But you'll know that you need to follow when it's a learning moment. So I tell people, just because we're queens doesn't mean we don't follow. Okay. Sometimes we have to follow when we need to also learn. And that's why if you think about queens reigning, they always had what? Advisors that came to them to talk to them about things that they weren't the subject matter expert on. So we can't be the expert of everything, but you can be a leader at all times. So I encourage you in tip number 9 to be a leader and only follow when it's a learning moment. Last but not least is tip number 10. I like y'all to make sure if you don't leave with anything else from this workshop is to embrace a mindset of how would a queen? So whatever this question is, how would a queen handle you? How would a queen handle this situation? How would a queen handle this conflict? How would a queen? So I want you to take that thought process, because as you're asking yourself, how would a queen handle this? You're putting yourself on your throne at all times. No one sits you on your throne but you, and no one takes you off of it but you. So unless you're starting to embrace and understanding a how would a queen mindset, you might miss and let somebody take your seat. And we never give up our seats. So start to embark on when things come up that you're maybe confused about, or you just need a little clarity. Take that time that I encouraged you to have and ask yourself, how would a queen handle this situation? And of course, y'all know I got to give a bonus tip, because if anybody knows me, I got to remind you all to be you, because everyone else is taken. That is my motto. I speak it. I say it. There's too many followers. I need you to embark on being you, because there's no one else like you. So everyone's waiting on your special gift, whatever it is that you were supposed to bring in to fulfill your purpose and passion. But all of these can't be done until you encourage yourself to sit down and have some talk about it conversations between just you and your future you. All righty. So we are going to play. How much am I on time? 5:40, right? Am I doing good on time, Jill?
You're doing great, Mo.
All righty. So I'm going to break before we go to the game. And I want to open it up I have some other leaders on here that I want to be able to come off the camera and tell the queens any type of encouragement that you would like to share as it relates to just having a talk about it culture, any advice that you want to give, because this is a great opportunity. So I don't know if some of the community leaders I sent emails to are on, but if you'll just unmute yourself, and the floor is yours, because this is not just for Coach Mo to talk. I want to make sure I give some time for them to say anything. Do I have any people that would like to come on and speak? I don't have anybody. I see now, Miss Foster. I see Miss Foster on here. Come on, Miss Foster, unmute and say something to the queens.
Well, first of all, good evening to everybody. We are so fortunate to have Coach Mo come to our school once a month and inspire our young ladies to be great. And I am sitting here in just awe. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to see you in action You know, it's always a blessing. And what I want to tell the young ladies is what kind of role model, I heard you say, what kind of person would they want to emulate? Why not you? Why not you? You take your time, and not only do you get to know children, but you build rapport and relationships with them. And so what I want to say to the young ladies is learn to be the most incredible you that you can be. Enjoy being you. You can't be like anybody else, because guess what? Everybody has their own shoe size. And so you can't walk the journey for anyone else. And the best part of life is you don't want anybody else's trials or tribulations. You want to deal with your own, because believe it or not, you are equipped eternally and internally with the tools that you need to be successful. And so one of the young ladies on here, I think it's Huguette, is it? I saw your name, baby. I'm not sure. I don't. You know what? Guess what? This will work, right? Miss St. Hubert. She said, "Hi, Miss Foster. How are you doing? Just the fact that you're in this program means that you're on the right track. The fact that you remembered me, that blessed my spirit. I was just happy to see that you had an affiliation with Coach Mo. And so I know that we started something years ago at Lauderdale Lakes, but it's incredible to know that your affiliation with Coach Mo will take you to the next level. And so I'm eternally grateful for Junior Achievement, Comerica, sharing you with us, Coach Mo. And I hope you young ladies learned something from this great event."
Thank you so much, Ms. Foster. I tell you, when I tell you, Queens, you got to find the teachers just like that in your schools. They're there. They're not going to come run and say, "Hey, I'm here." But you can find them. And once you find them, you attach to them. You keep them, because those are the people who, when it's time to get those letters of recognition that you need written, that look so much better coming from a teacher, it's easier to get that letter of recommendation versus, I was in your class 2 years ago and I had good grades, and I'm just wondering if you wouldn't mind writing me a letter of recommendation. Come on, speak to me now. I know we might have went through that. So this is all I'm encouraging you all to do, Queens, is to be able to start talking. Your tongue is so powerful. And for so many years, women have not had the ability to truly be heard. But I know this is changing with the new generation of you young queens that are coming out. I'm very confident that when I'm a little older, but when I get older, you all are going to be there to help take care of people like me. And that means so much, because I have to invest. People say, Coach Mo, you always want to help. I have to. Why not? If I don't help you, who helps us as we get older? And the senior population is struggling. So remember, we all got to get old one day, right? So what you put into the world is what you will also receive. Did I have any other community leaders on the line that wanted to share any positive feedback before we get into the quick game? Okay, so alrighty, game time, because I did not want to make this just all a talking discussion. So I've got 4 little fun games that I would like for you all to participate with me on. And all you have to do is put your answer in the chat. You get 60 seconds to guess the word that goes with the 4 pictures that I'm going to show you on the next slide. The person that gets the most answers correct is going to get a beautiful Comerica t-shirt, a Comerica book bag, and also some utensils and supplies that we're going to give you. And I might even have a little special gift certificate that's just from Coach Mo to Sephora, because I love makeup, that I'm going to give to you all to also go and have some fun shopping. So are we ready? Everybody got their keyboards right? Because I want to make sure y'all can type now. I know y'all can type real fast with your fingers anyway, so I'm not worried. I'm talking to young girls here. Y'all know how to type and text. So we went over the rules real quick. You'll get 60 seconds. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, here's the first one. What's the word that links these 4 pictures together? So I'm going to give you a clue. It's 5 letters. So take a look at the pictures and you've got 60 seconds now.
You let me know. Do you want me to share the answers that are in the chat already?
No, we'll share it on the end and we'll see who wins.
All right.
I suggest you may want to guess more than once, though, to be honest, because I don't know if you're going to get it right away. Are they coming in? Are they coming in? Are they coming in?
We got 2 different ones so far.
Did I make this one too easy? 21 seconds. Let me see what's in here. I made it easy. All right, time's up. Time is up. So let's see here. Okay, there's my clock going off. All right, that thing is loud, isn't it? So everybody guessed it right. I think we got a lot of trust. I don't know, Jill, can you help me keep score with
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the first trust that I saw, and that's with Miss Alexis.
Okay. All righty. So are y'all ready for the next one? Are we ready for the next one? Here we go. What's the word that links these 4 together? The clue is 5 letters. Ooh. Counting down, counting down. Counting down, counting down. All right, I think everyone knew that Coach Mo was going to put that in there because that's what I call everybody. Okay, so we got Queen. All right.
Yes. All right.
All right, so are we ready for the next one?
All right, Miss Huguette was the first one.
Okay, so Queen is the right answer for that one. And this is the last one. So guess what? Everybody will get a t-shirt, but whoever is the first one that breaks the tie will get that Sephora gift card. So let's see here if we can get this last one. Are we ready?
Yep.
What's the word that links these 4 together? I think I got them finally. All right, it's counting down. I think y'all already answered, even though it's 26. Oh, someone said limit.
Yep, we got.
Okay, I'm going with my first one, rules. All right, so the timer is
It was rules.
But you know what? Now that I think about it, I wish I would have put goals. But that's okay. So I hope you all had fun playing the quick little game. It's 5:50. I wanted to leave 10 at least minutes for any questions that you may have specifically just for Coach Mo or for JA or for even Miss Foster. She's a teacher. Anything that you want to talk about, we are available right now. If not, we'll give you back 10 minutes of your time, but the floor is open.
Any comments, questions, anything you want to ask Coach Mo?
So as a comment, this is Taylor. I want to say I appreciate you for talking to us at the moment and taking your time out of your day for coming and talking to us. And I had a question. What made you want to take your career path for like all of you?
What made me want to take my career? What, Queen?
Your career path that you have chosen.
Oh, the career path. Oh, well, that is a great question. I actually wasn't as empowered as I'm trying to encourage you queens to be. My path actually was chosen due to my situation. So I got pregnant, like some of us do at an early age. Early for me was 24, but I didn't stay in school like I should have. And I decided to go into banking. So I started at a credit union back in 1995, 96, 97, something like that. And I was in banking from then. I eventually knew, though, that my passion was with helping people. So my husband and I created a nonprofit back in 2007 called Handling Risky Business. We feel that we're handling the risky business that other people may be forgetting about by teaching everyone to invest in a 360-degree life portfolio. There's so much more to you than just what meets the eye. So we like to encourage. And, you know, through my journey, I'm 45 now. As my son just moved out, he's 20. And I have a 15-year-old daughter. I'm finally trying to find Mo on what it is that really I want to do, you know, once I'm not a mother. So I didn't choose my path, to answer your question, Queen. My path chose me. But my love for people, my love for young queens, it's just always been a perfect match. And that's why I just do that on my own. Great question.
Thank you for answering.
Any other questions?
I also wanted to
Go ahead. No. Go ahead, Paya.
I just to comment and say thank you for also like coming on and speaking to us. Your tips were amazing. I did write them down, you know, because I will be, you know, taking those for future events and stuff. Thank you again.
Awesome.
It was necessary to hear.
Period. I'm trying to y'all, I'm trying to stay young. My daughter won't let me do certain things, but she doesn't know. You all help me stay young. So what's the new as you say, what is it? What do y'all say now? Something. Anyways, go ahead. Next question. I can't remember. Next question or comment. Yeah, I want a hard question. Nobody's asked me a hard question. Ask me one of those questions that you all think you can't ask. Those are the questions I think we need to be able to talk about.
Coach Mo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Queen.
Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. It was amazing as usual. My question is, I know you mentioned how sometimes we let our emotions control our decisions. Can you, you don't have to be specific if you don't want to, can you tell us about a time when that happened to you and how did you overcome that?
I'll give you two.
Okay.
One is the tattoos that I have. I would let certain things in my life when I was younger dictate, you know, oh, I need to go get a tattoo now. And I didn't think about the future corporate Mo, the Mo that walks in the offices with CEOs and, you know, $1 million people. And not that tattoos are bad, it's just placement. I mean, you see, I'm trying to hide that one. Placement of tattoos, you know, need to be very strategic if you're thinking about the future you. So a lot of my emotions caused me to put tattoos in certain places that at this time, I really wish I didn't have. So that's one example. And I'm going to be very transparent. Back in the days, I was a fighter. And, you know, where's David at? David, I don't fight anymore. You know, that's our market president if he's still on here. But you know, I like to keep it real. You know, I didn't understand how to handle my anger because as I explained in the story, you know, I was harboring a lot of stuff internally and, you know, it would just all come out at whoever was about to get it. And it wasn't ever really their fault, but, you know, that's what happens when we don't take control of things that, you know, ultimately end up controlling us. So I tried to stay out of trouble, but eventually I started just, you know, being very, you know, aggressive and not understanding why I was acting the way I was acting. But, you know, I began to learn that that doesn't suit me. It didn't suit who I was. It didn't suit who I wanted to be. And, you know, I just gladly, back then we didn't have all these cameras and all these things, you know, like y'all got anything y'all do gonna be recorded. So, you know, I lived at a time where, you know, you could get away with a teacher pulling you to the side. Hey, okay, I saw you fighting. That's it. But you all is totally different. So that's why it's even more important to make sure you know, take control of those emotions, because those temporary emotions, if you've been on any of my workshops, you hear me say it all the time, temporary emotions can cause permanent outcomes. And you don't want those to be reflective of the future you that you want to be. So that's my very two personal moments that, you know, I'll share. That you know, I just want to be transparent. I don't want y'all to think everybody that gets on here is perfect, because I definitely was not perfect by any means, but I am growing towards the perfection that suits Coach Mo. And I continue to do that through transparent conversations with all of you, transparent conversations, even personally with myself. That's the most important conversation I choose to have, is just with me in my mirror. I told someone, I think in my last Girl BU Club, to make sure if it's a secret you got, y'all better look in the mirror and tell the mirror. That's the best person you can tell, is the person in the mirror, because you cannot control people. And that's another thing as it relates to emotions. We expect people to be us. And unfortunately, as I told you all, be you. You're the only you. So if you're good at holding a secret, does not mean your best friend is really as good at holding a secret as you are. So we've got to come to terms to that as young queens right now, so that we don't let expectations cause our emotions to turn into permanent outcomes. So I hope that answers some of that question.
Yes, thank you.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So for the tips that you shared, did you like incorporate these tips when you were younger, or are these tips that you like learned over time?
These are tips I learned over time. Queen, if I knew these tips back then, I'd be a multimillionaire. I would be way more. Let me tell you, my daughter shared with me, Mommy, I don't want to be like you when I grow up. And I said, well, ouch, that hurt. Like, I thought I was the junk, you know? And she was like, no, Mommy, I don't want to be like you. And I had to ask her why. She said, Mommy, you work too hard. And I said, wow, okay, well, all right. And we here. And the reason I worked too hard is because I didn't have those tips. Had I had those tips, had I been a little more intentional, had I not let boys, you know, distract me, you know, at a time when I should have been focused on me being the best queen that I could be, or, you know, let other things distract me. I did not finish my bachelor's degree until like 2 years ago. Well, yeah, 2 years ago. I finished my bachelor's degree and I just finished my master's, and I'm 45. So imagine a lot of you all have the opportunity to be dual enrolled right now. A lot of you have the opportunity to almost be finished with your associates by the time you graduate. So I encourage you to just stay focused, because had I had these tips, I don't think I would be where I am, but I still at this point, to be honest, would not change anything or the journey that I traveled, because I feel through my journey, my struggle, I've been able to give a better version to my daughter and to other queens that I also love.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Queen.
All right, Mo, I know we're hitting almost to the top of the hour. I have got 3 names, the 3 girls that answered each of the questions first. Would you like me to pick a name, or do you you've got 3 gift cards, or how do you want me to handle that?
Let's do this. Let's do a question tiebreaker for the 3 girls.
Okay. So the 3 girls I have are Huguette, Alexis, and Taylor.
Okay.
No pressure, ladies.
All right, this is for a $50 Sephora gift card.
Ooh.
So let's see here. I got to make this question good. I'm thinking, y'all. Give me 1 second. Just give me a minute. I want to make sure it's a good question. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I want to go back and ask. Someone tell me what is my favorite quote and saying?
Be you, because everyone else is taken.
Is that fair? Since you get okay. Was that too easy? Okay, you get out. I'll give you the $50 gift card, but let's go for second and third place. For the other two queens, so we got $50 to Huguette, and we got, let's do 25 and 25 for the other two if they get the answer right. So out of Alexis and Taylor, what is Coach Mo's favorite color?
I want to say yellow.
Easy. Who was that who said yellow?
Alexis.
Okay, Alexis. All right, well then Taylor, by default, you get the $25. So you let somebody do the hard work for you.
No.
Well, listen, please. I enjoyed each and every one of you. Please stay tuned for the next Girls Rule Ignite Your Superpower workshop. We have a phenomenal speaker that we're getting planned up that JA will be sending out. I encourage you though, queens, do not come on here alone. Please bring someone else because we don't act selfishly. Queens aren't selfish. Queens share the knowledge. So I encourage you to tag team one person and just tell them, listen, just please come on, join with us because there's some phenomenal things that you can learn. And Jill, will you tell us what the next session is?
Yes.
I called.
Yes, the next session is on January 19th. It is on goal setting and big dreams.
Oh, goal setting and big dreams. So queens have to have those. So thank you very much for everyone. Please follow me on LinkedIn if you are not. That is a good way to reach me. If you need anything, if you need letters or, just to call Coach Mo and talk. If I'm not available right away, I will do my best to make my time for you all. I want to be there for you. I want to remind you that you are loved. And if no one did not tell you that they loved you today, who's going to tell themselves that they're loved? You will. You are your best cheerleader. Wake up every morning and say, I love me some me. So thank you for igniting your superpower with Coach Mo today during our Girls Rule Ignite Your Superpower continuing series of mentorship for the year. See you next time on the next workshop.